for 11 nights. My Ring doorbell recorded the same person every single night, exactly 3:12 a.m. They never knocked, never rang the bell, never left a note, never spoke. They just stood there, facing my front door. The strangest part, the camera could never capture their face. Not once. And on the 12th night, I found out why. This happened about 8 months ago. I had recently moved into a rental house on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just a small one-story home. The neighborhood was quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of place where everyone seemed to know everyone else. Since I worked late shifts, I installed a Ring doorbell camera, mostly for package theft. Nothing more. For the first 2 weeks, everything was normal. Then one Tuesday morning, I woke up to a motion alert, 3:12 a.m. I opened the footage. A person was standing on my porch, completely still, facing the front door. I expected them to knock or leave. Instead, they simply stood there for almost 30 seconds, then walked away. I couldn't see their face. They wore a dark hoodie. The hood covered everything. I figured it was some drunk teenager, maybe a prank. I deleted the notification and went to work. The next morning, another alert appeared, 3:12 a.m. The same person, same hoodie, same posture, same spot. Again, they stood motionless, then left. Now I was paying attention. By the 4th night, I became obsessed. Every morning, another notification. Every morning, 3:12 a.m. The footage never changed. The person would appear, stand silently, then leave. I checked with neighbors. Nobody had seen anything. One neighbor laughed and said, "Probably kids." But it didn't feel like kids. Kids get bored. This person was committed. The 5th recording disturbed me. The figure stood there longer, almost a minute, not moving, not shifting weight, not looking around, just staring directly at the door, at my door. That night, I stayed awake. At 3:05 a.m., I sat in the living room, watching the front entrance, phone in one hand, baseball bat in the other. 3:10, nothing. 3:11, nothing. 3:12. My phone vibrated, motion detected. My heart nearly stopped. I rushed to the window. The porch was empty, completely empty. Yet the camera alert had triggered. I opened the live feed. The figure was there, standing exactly where it always stood. But outside my window, there was nobody. I checked again. Window, feed, window, feed. The figure only existed on the camera. At first, I thought the camera was malfunctioning. Maybe old recordings were replaying. Maybe there was a software bug. So I downloaded all the footage, frame by frame. That's when I noticed something. The background changed. Tiny details. Rain one night, dry pavement another, different shadows, different lighting. The recordings were real. The person was really there. Yet somehow, I couldn't see them in real life. A week later, I called Ring support. The technician reviewed everything. He couldn't explain it. Then he asked a strange question. "Do you live alone?" I laughed. Yeah. There was a pause. Then he said, "Because it looks like someone knows your routine very well." That sentence stayed with me. Someone knows your routine. For the next few days, I started noticing things. Small things. A backyard gate left open. A chair moved slightly. A kitchen light I didn't remember turning on. Nothing dramatic. just enough to make me uneasy. Then came night 11. The footage started normally, 3:12 a.m. The figure appeared. Same position, same hoodie, same silence. Then something happened for the first time. The person moved toward the camera. One step, then another, until they filled most of the frame. My stomach dropped because I realized something. The face wasn't hidden anymore. The camera wasn't blurry. There simply wasn't a face. The hood was dark inside, pitch black, like a shadow. Then the video ended. I barely slept. The next day, I checked every lock in the house, every window, every room. Everything seemed secure. But deep down, I knew night 12 was coming. I wasn't going to sleep, not this time. At 3 a.m., I sat in the living room, all lights off, watching the front door. 3:11, silence. Then 3:12, motion detected. The notification appeared. I didn't look at the feed. I looked at the door. Nothing. Then I heard it. A sound from inside the house. A floorboard creaking. Behind me. My blood turned cold. Slowly. I turned around. The hallway was dark. Another creak. Closer. Then another. Someone was inside. Not outside. Inside. I grabbed my phone and opened the live feed. The figure was still on the porch. Standing there. At the same time, footsteps echoed inside my house. That was impossible. Unless there were two people. One outside. One inside. I backed toward the front door, keeping my eyes on the hallway. The footsteps stopped. Complete silence. Then my phone buzzed again. A new motion alert. Not from the front camera. From the indoor camera I'd recently installed in the kitchen. I opened it and nearly dropped my phone. The camera showed a man standing in my kitchen, looking directly into the lens, wearing the same hoodie. Police searched the house that night. They found evidence someone had been entering through a crawl space behind the laundry room. Food wrappers, water bottles, blankets. Someone had been living inside my walls. Nobody was ever caught. I moved out 2 weeks later. A month after moving, I received one final notification from the old Ring account, a saved recording, timestamp, 3:12 a.m. The porch was empty. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then a message appeared written across the front door. 3 words, "I found you." I deleted the account immediately, but even today, whenever my phone vibrates late at night, I still check the time first, just to make sure it isn't 3:12 a.m.